Fate is a big shot franchise with a lot of games to its name. Fate Extella Link was its last major game, released 5 years ago back in 2018. Wait, 2018 was 5 years ago? Enter Fate Samurai Remnant. It's the latest entry to the Fate series, taking place in Japan's Edo period in the 17th century. Fate fans have been waiting quite a while for something new to capture their hearts. Can Fate Samurai Remnant grant their wish? Let's find out. This is a video version of a review article linked below. Fate Samurai Remnant follows the story of Miyamoto Iori, the adopted son of the renowned swordsman and philosopher Miyamoto Musashi. Iori was suddenly attacked in his home in the late hours of the night. He flees his home but later finds himself cornered by a formidable foe in heavy armor, and a samurai sporting a ponytail. When the samurai was about to deliver the finishing blow to Iori, a blinding light emitted from Iori's hand. Iori then realized that an individual holding a peculiar sword was now standing in front of him. Recognizing Iori as their summoner, the mysterious character introduces themselves as Saber, and fends off the assailants with spectacular prowess. Once the chaos subsides, the mysterious figure explains to Iori that he has been chosen as a master to participate in the Waxing Moon ritual. This ritual has chosen 7 masters, each partnered with a servant. These servants are prominent figures throughout myth and history, called heroic spirits, and are categorized under 7 classes: Saber, Archer, Lancer, Rider, Assassin, Caster, and Berserker. The goal of the ritual? To have the 7 masters and their servants participate in a battle royale against each other, with the last one standing given the coveted prize of having a grand wish fulfilled. And so we play as Iori and Saber as they fight off hostile forces, forge valuable allies, strengthen the bond between them, and also eat lots of rice. If there's one thing the Fate franchise is sure to get right, it's the story. After all, it's most famous for its visual novels. And true to form, Fate Samurai Remnant has done an outstanding job plotting out the story. The writers of the game did an amazing job of weaving a story that's engaging, memorable, and endearing. The story is well paced and keeps you well informed of what's happening in the story, while at the same time having you beg to know more about how the story will develop. There's also a refreshing lack of harem anime elements, or undertones that you'd usually see in Fate works. No unreasonable, cliché anime romances there to distract you from the story. Okay, maybe accept that one. There's a seriousness that is maintained throughout the story. That's not to say that it's all straight-faced, high-tension action and intrigue the entire time. There's also a welcome amount of lighthearted moments sprinkled throughout, and side quests that provide levity amidst the otherwise dangerous ritual being performed, providing balance in the tone in the story and a chance for you to take a breather. If there's one thing to highlight about the story, it's that the characters of Fate Samurai Remnant are what make the game truly shine. They're consistent and act naturally with regard to their characterization, but they still have the flexibility to change in the face of major story developments. The best example of this is none other than our protag pair, Iori and Saber. Saber, coming from their period of strife and conflict, initially constantly chides Iori for being weak and soft. However, as the story progresses, they find respect in Iori's growing strength and persevering peaceful worldview. They eventually work well off each other and make for a great duo, both in battle and in making conversations lively and fun. This kind of character growth is natural and maybe even obvious for two who continually spend time with each other, but character development of this level is surprisingly hard to find in other games. The rest of the characters are also wonderfully written, holding worldviews that fit well within the narrative and the setting. This makes the Waxing Moon ritual not just a battle royale of raw power, but of motivations as well. There are definitely times when the game got us very emotional, and we hope you get to experience that too. Just like how we hope you would give us a like and subscribe. We'll state right off the bat that gameplay was the weakest aspect of Fate Samurai Remnant. The gameplay fails on 2 fronts, shockingly as an action Musou game, and even more shockingly as a visual novel. A Musou game, to put simply, is a type of game where you're pitted against a huge number of mobs that you can mow down to fulfill your overpowered anime protagonist fantasies. The Dynasty Warrior series is the example of this genre. The genre was literally named after the Japanese name of the series, Sangoku Musou. In Fate Samurai Remnant, you'll get a good Musou experience with regular enemies, being able to mow them down no problem. But once major enemies and bosses enter the picture, the pace of the battle slows down to a crawl. These enemies have a super armor on them that we can call shells. Shells require a lot of damage to shave off. The game will tell you to use servants to shave down the shell, but in practice you can't control your servants as much as you'd like since you need to accumulate points and gauges to do so. The game also only gives you 4 skill slots, despite the many unique skills that you can learn. It's apparently supposed to make up for the fact that you can't always freely use your servant, but it's pointless if you can't access the majority of them during your gameplay. There's also a ludo-narrative disconnect. Servants are supposed to be overwhelmingly powerful according to the lore, but when you look at the actual gameplay, it's pretty underwhelming. Noble phantasms, which are basically the ultimate manifestation of a servant's legendary weapons and heroic feats, are all quite weak in this game. At certain points, they're only enough to deplete your enemy's shell and damage them a little. This is in stark contrast to the opening cutscene of Saber reducing houses to rubble with their noble phantasm, even after being interrupted by Iori's command seal mid-cast. On the visual novel side of the criticisms, while the story is up to par for a visual novel, it's sorely lacking in the choose-your-story aspect. In a series known for its branching storylines and multiple endings, there are hardly any choices in the game. Usually, in a Fate story, you can make choices that can affect even small changes to your route. Depending on the decision you made, it could be a big change that affects your ending, or it could just be an optional route that reconnects to the main story later. For example, if this had been implemented in Fate Samurai Remnant, maybe you'd be having a peaceful dinner with your servant, and the game would give you the choice of udon or donburi. The two choices would then both lead to distinctly different dialogues. This serves as a way to give freedom and expression to the player, while also adding replayability. Unfortunately though, I can count on one hand the few major plot choices that Fate Samurai gives you. It's a far cry from what most Fate fans are used to, where you get wildly different routes and varied dialogues to explore depending on your choices. Other than the Musou and visual novel aspects being a bit disappointing, subquests are also sometimes annoying. Some subquests are also a chore to complete as enemy spawns are random and appear in limited areas. This forces you to exit the map, come back, and try again multiple times. Needless to say, material gathering is also a pain because of this. The visuals are just about the best part of the game. The character models are all well designed and distinct from one another. It's easy to differentiate each character just from their silhouettes alone, which is anime character design 101. The art style meshes well with the game's setting of Edo period Japan. The painted style of coloring and the texture of the art really calls to mind nostalgia and a time-long past kind of atmosphere. Quality 2D CG art is also present during story dialogue to further enhance the experience. The animation in the cutscenes is a delight for the eyes. The choreography of the action scenes is also engaging and thrilling. Noble phantasm effects and animations, especially in the cutscenes, really convey their power and magnitude, even though they're not really that powerful in combat. The music is also very well done. The town music conveys the peaceful feeling of being safe from the perils of the ritual, albeit briefly. The battle music can get very tense and electrifying. And Saber even gets their own theme whenever they activate their Noble Phantasm. The voice acting, as expected from a Fate game, employs only the most iconic names in the Japanese voice acting industry. Kengo Kawanishi as Iori, Tomoaki Mayano as Zhan Shonkong, Ayane Sakura as Musashi, and more. They truly brought their voice acting A-game to elevate all the emotional beats of the story. Fate Samurai Remnant did well to live up to the expectations of delivering the quality stories that Fate is known for. It's just a shame that it didn't give players enough options for story branches that alter your story experience. The battle gameplay also wasn't as good as previous Fates like Extella, but the audio and visuals are amazing. You should be able to complete the main content in around 45 hours, and you'll most likely take more time if you decide to do the side quests and try for different endings. At $60 USD, it delivers a lot of content to do and is well worth the price. And that's why we're giving Fate Samurai Remnant an 8.8. It's a must-have for any Fate fan. Despite its flaws, it's still an enjoyable game. The story and visuals are the aspects that carry it though, so if you're considering this game primarily for the Musou gameplay, maybe just pick up another Dynasty Warriors game. How about you? Were you looking forward to Fate Samurai Remnant? What's your favorite entry in the Fate franchise? Tell us below. Subscribe for more video game related content, and we'll see you later.